Well, welcome back to my channel, everyone. It's Charles here from Charles and Photography, and look at the site we have in front of us here. We have the Stormy Bridge, which is located in the centre of Brisbane. We have a very stormy day today. Now, I've just finished doing a panoramic tutorial right here, but I just couldn't pass up this chance. It actually looked like we were just going to get smashed, but it looks like the storm has either gone south or north from here. Before I go home, I just couldn't pass up photographing the Stormy Bridge here. The tutorial I came into the city for is right here, how to photograph cityscapes in panoramic format. So if you're interested in panoramas, definitely check out this tutorial here. It'll certainly help you out. But I've actually moved maybe 100 meters from my previous location. I've moved further away from the bridge. Now you might wonder, why would you move further away from your subject? Because when I did the panoramic tutorial, I was using the Nikon 18-140mm lens. But now I've actually put my Tokina 11-20mm lens on. And this is because I want to get a bigger field of view. And if I was shooting where I was at the previous location here, I would actually have a lot of distortion in the bridge, which means that when I got rid of distortion, I would actually have been cropping it heavily. I would just be seeing just the edges of the bridge. So I wanted to get more of a feel of today. I want you to actually see these storm clouds. So this is why I've backed up around 100 meters to actually get this shot. I'm shooting, like always, with my Nikon D500, and I don't have any filters on. Now, I've actually talked about this in previous videos about why I actually don't use ND filters or whatever in my storm photos. At the most, sometimes I might actually use a polarizer, but the problem is that it's inclement weather. It could rain at any time. So if I've got slot filters here in front of my lens, I'm very likely to get little drops of water on the filter, and this will show up in my photo. So I'd have to be constantly wiping this away. I actually prefer to keep it natural and not use any filters at all. When we're shooting like this, I'm so far away from the bridge. I don't need an aperture of f11. There's no foreground here. All we see is the bridge and the buildings in the background. So when I'm shooting from around this location, between f5.6 and f8 is my sweet spot. That's all I need. How do I photograph storm photos? I've already done quite a few videos, but for those who haven't watched it, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my camera in auto white balance. I will put it in aperture priority, and I will set the aperture to f8. So let's do this now. So mode, come across here to aperture priority, f8, and my metering is matrix. People send me questions sometimes. How do you always get your photos so well exposed? And I said, well, it's not luck. It is careful consideration of your subject. Most of the time for landscapes like this, you're shooting matrix. If it's Canon, it's evaluative. Here's another link here. I just did this video and it talks about metering, the differences between matrix, between center weighted, between spot. And I've got my good friend, Trevor the Heron, to actually help us show this. Now you might laugh, but watch the video and you'll see Trevor the Heron help me explain to you how metering works. So we're in matrix metering here. So now we've got our aperture set, the ISO is set to 100. Now let's see our white balance. I'll use auto white balance. So we're ready to go. I'm using live view, so much easier than looking through the viewfinder here. I'm actually looking, how much do I want? It's not because I've got an 11-20mm that I've got to shoot super wide. At 11 mils, well, now hang on, I'll actually take a photo here. This is 11 mils. Can you see the bridge? It's just such a small thing down there. So let's put it back in live view and let's zoom in a bit. That's it. Now I've just gotten rid of this rail here. And although I just about framed it originally, this actually looks quite nice. But what happens if I just move it slightly to the left? Now an image this wide, I'm most likely not going to leave it in a 6x4 format. I will end up cropping it. How much I crop? That depends when I get home. I'm visualizing my shot visualize your shot. Try to think about what you want in your final shot. When you edit, when you crop, think about what you want. Now, I've been here before. I know that I'm going to crop a bit of the water in the foreground here, so it really doesn't worry me if this rail is here. But I was just looking if I could get a few more buildings that are on our left here in the frame. But looking at this, what's the problem is they're all tilted so badly, but the bridge is upright. So I'm actually just going to zoom in a bit more. Now the problem we have here is we've got the Meriton Hotel right in the center of the bridge. It doesn't matter where you put yourself here, you're going to have it in your photo. The only way to get rid of it is actually to go so close to the bridge and shoot back towards the city. But then you're going to get a huge amount of distortion. So from this angle, we're just going to have to accept this building. I'll take a photo here and I'll just show you something. Now, all I'm doing here is I'm just locking the focus, locked focus. We'll take a photo. Now, don't worry about the exposure. It's slightly dark, but look at this image. Can you see we've got so much sky? So when I go to edit this image, to actually give some wow factor, to actually draw my viewer into the Story Bridge, I'm going to have to cut off a little bit of the water in the foreground and a bit of sky. This is dead area, and I don't want the dead area. I actually want to highlight the Story Bridge. So keep that in mind when you're photographing subjects like the bridge or whatever like this. So it's showing me that I'm slightly underexposed, but I'm on aperture priority. I can't change my shutter speed. This is where I use exposure compensation. So press info so I can see exposure compensation dial. It looks like I'm about 3/4 of a stop underexposed. So we'll bring it up plus 0.3. So my shutter speed has gone from 1/250th to 1/160th, letting in more light. Now this looks very nice, but if I'm looking at this photo, it doesn't look like there's much detail in the clouds. But because we've exposed so much to the right, when we get home, I can actually put an ND grad, go around the building so I don't darken the buildings, and I can really bring out so much of that detail. And I'm not going to have a problem with grain in my photo because I'm darkening it down a bit, but I've slid it so much that all that info is there. So I've gotten the best of both worlds. I've actually brought the shadows in the photo as much as I can without destroying my highlights. Because your shadows are important, but your highlights are critical. You cannot bring back highlights that are blown out. Now, if you've gotten value from this video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.